What's up, y'all? This is Franchise Play, aka Brian Mazik, and I'm coming to you with the update on the MLB The Show Legends project that I was working on. I've been working on it still, but I decided I had to change some stuff up. Now, don't pay any attention to the Philadelphia Phillies team on here. Some of the guys that are here are probably going to be on the Philly squad when I finish them, and some of them might not be. Some of the faces may be changed, some of the accessories and all that. So don't pay any attention to that. Now, this Diamondbacks team is almost completely finished. Now, I know I had originally said that they were finished, but I decided to go back and change some things. And this is the reason why. First of all, I wanted it to be accurate as possible, because with the way that the show is going to allow you to continue to use the same rosters year over year, I figure like this is a project that can be an ongoing thing, because finally you can stick to your roster saves. So that's kind of what I'm banking on. Now, because I know this whole thing is going to be a huge project, I asked for help. So I had a few people respond, but I had one particular guy come out and really say he wanted to be down, and just looking or talking to him and hearing about some of the things he's done in regards to rosters and stuff, I really felt like this particular guy was the man I wanted to work with. His name is Les Narinsky, and he is a baseball savant for real. I know a lot about the game. I love the game, but this guy is a beast with it, right? So he's already done some things with ratings and all of that. So I said, you know what? I have a formula, which I'm going to get into, for picking the players that I want on the roster, which I tweaked some stuff here with the Diamondbacks, which is another reason I redid them. And I know I had a concept. I wasn't necessarily just going for the all-time greatest players. What I was trying to do was find out who are the best players for every single organization. So taking into only account what a specific player did on a specific team, I wanted to see so who has been the most valuable players to each organization. So I said, well, I'll pick the players with my formula. I'll even create them and do all of that stuff and do the legwork of looking through the internet, Googling pictures and stuff to make sure I'm getting guys that look like themselves, batting stances and all that kind of stuff. I'll do that, but I'm going to let Les do the ratings. The only thing I asked was Les base it on one particular season from that player with that team. So pick the player, pick the team, pick the season that you thought that this particular guy played his best. So that's Les's thing. That's what Les is doing, right? So this is where we are now. I'm going to take a look and show you what we came up with in terms of the formula. So what I came up with in terms of the formula. I have a similar formula like this with all sports, but we're just talking about baseball right now. So this is called the franchise player value rating. So I designed this to basically account for everything almost that a guy can do that is of value. I have something for pitchers and for hitters. This is for hitters. So want to reward being with the team for a while, period, being with a team. So for every season that you're with the team, that amount times 2 goes to your FPVR. The runs created per season. Why did I use runs created per season? Les actually suggested this, and looking into it, it is the most comprehensive statistic you can find that really goes about every aspect of the game: stolen bases, RBIs, home run, all this different type of stuff, right? So that's a big one. So I took that and averaged it out. So how many runs created per season does this player average, or does a player average? Gold gloves times 5, so 1 gold glove equals 5 points, 2, 10, and so on. Same thing with all-star appearances times 10, MVPs times 25, postseason appearances, just making it to the playoffs, times 2, winning a pennant, so going to the World Series, every time a guy does that, times 3, World Series rings, 5 points per ring, 25 points per time the player was voted for a World Series MVP. So the same as the regular season MVP. 3 points for every batting title, 3 points for every home run title, 3 points for every RBI title, 3 points for every time that the player led the league in stolen bases, and I'm popping 50 points for every time a hitter wins the Triple Crown. So we know that's rare, right? Now, this is for pitchers, which is similar, but not quite the same. Had to adjust it, of course, for the pitchers. Now, the pitching FPVR is usually not going to be as high as the hitters, but it's fine because they're not actually being compared to the hitters. I'm doing the 40-man rosters, okay? 40-man rosters. So not necessarily the top 40 players, but to make a 40-man roster, what would be the best 40-man roster each team could put out, right? So same thing with seasons times 2. Adjusted ERA plus. I thought that was the best statistic, most comparable to the runs created from a pitcher standpoint. So we did the average of that per season. 25 points for every Cy Young, 5 points for every Gold Glove, 10 points for every All-Star appearance, same thing. 25 for every MVP, every time the player won an MVP. 2 points for every postseason appearance, 3 points for every pennant, 5 for every World Series ring, 3 points for every ERA title, 3 points for every wins title, 3 points for every time a player led the league in strikeouts, 3 points for every time a player led the league in saves, and 30 points for the pitching Triple Crown. Now, why is the pitching Triple Crown less than the hitting Triple Crown? Because it happens more frequently. You more often see a player lead the league in ERA, wins, and strikeouts than you do see a player lead the league in home runs, RBIs, and batting average. So that's the reason why it's only 30 instead of 50, which is still a good number of points, right? So this is what we're going to do. Just to give you an example of how it shakes out, I'm going to show you the top-rated hitter and pitcher for Arizona, and you'll see how their stat came up. This is Luis Gonzalez's numbers. So he's 8 seasons with Arizona. That's 16 points. The runs created. So he has a total of 950 runs created as a member of the Diamondbacks. Divided by 8, that's 118.75. He didn't win any Gold Gloves. He was a 4-time All-Star with Arizona. I think the audio sync of this is a little bit off, so hopefully that's not too much of a distraction. But 4 times as an All-Star equals 40 points. He made 2 postseasons, which is 4 points. Won the pennant once, that's 3 points. The World Series team he was on in 2001, that's 5 points. Didn't win the World Series MVP, didn't win any batting titles, home run titles, RBI titles, stolen base titles, or any Triple Crowns. So his total rollout was 186.75, which is the highest for any Arizona Diamondback hitter. So he is clearly the man in regards to hitting with Arizona. He's the best, he's the best hitter or the most valuable hitter in the history of Arizona Diamondback baseball, and I don't think you'll find anybody who would dispute that. So that's that for the how it breaks down for a hitter. So now let's take a quick look at the way it breaks down for a pitcher. Like I said, the pitching numbers are a little bit usually lower, but this just shows you just how amazing Randy Johnson was as a Diamondback, period, but just specifically in this situation as a Diamondback. 8 seasons, 16 points. His adjusted ERA plus per season, 164 times divided by 8, because he had 164 was a total amount. So, to find the average is 20.5. 4 Cy Youngs, so that's 100 points. Didn't have any Gold Gloves, made 5 All-Star games, so that's 50. No MVPs, although he just missed. Went to the postseason 3 times, that's 6. Won 1 pennant, that's 3. Won the World Series ring, that's 5 points. World Series MVP he won, so that's 25 points. Then the ERA title 3 times, that's 9 points. Had the most wins once, that's 3 points. He led the league in strikeouts 5 times, that's 15. Didn't lead the league in saves, but he did win the Triple Crown, which is 30 points. So we're looking at, it's really just ridiculous. It really is. 282.5 is the number for Randy Johnson. That's pretty sick. For the remaining teams, you'll more than likely see the hitters come up with the highest numbers, but if you look at the fact that the Diamondbacks are still a relatively new franchise, so there haven't been a lot of great performers especially at the plate. Now, pitching wise, they have done pretty well in a short period of time with Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling, Brandon Webb, those guys. But as hitters, that really hasn't clicked yet. So that's the beauty of the system. I think is going to really be unique and cool for every single team. So we're going to see that. So now that we've looked at that, let's look at the actual 40-man rosters. So actually, it's 25 guys in the major leagues, and the other 15 guys are going to be in AAA on the roster. So look for that once it's actually uploaded. But let's look at the players for each team. Luis Gonzalez, and I have it broken down all the way down here. So we got Luis Gonzalez, Steve Finley, Paul Goldschmidt, Jay Bell, Justin Upton, Orlando Hudson, Chris Young, Mark Reynolds, Matt Williams, Tony Womack, Miguel Montero, Gerardo Parra, Stephen Drew, Junior Spivey, Damian Miller, Craig Counsell, Chad Tracy, Eric Burns, Rubio Durazo, Aaron Hill, Danny Batista, Alex Centron, and Chris Snyder. Those are the hitters. Now, Chris Snyder just snuck in there because felt like he needed 3 catches for the 40-man roster. So that's the only reason, because he had a really low FPVR, basically. So pitchers, we had Randy Johnson, of course, Kurt Schilling, Brandon Webb, Dan Herron, Young-Hun Kim, Jose Valverde, Greg Swindell, Miguel Batista, Brad Ziegler, Matt Manti, Ian Kennedy, Mike Koplov, Juan Cruz, Doug Davis, J.J. Putz, Josh Colementor, and Omar Dahl. You might notice that there's a really good distribution of starting pitchers, relievers, and closers. It worked out really well just sticking to the system, not even having to do like a lot of independent thinking or anything like that, just sticking to the system. It all came out pretty cool, pretty accurate. I think it'd be hard pressed for somebody to find someone who, they say should be here that isn't. I think the only guy that really jumps out to me is Daniel Hudson, the pitcher. But he just barely kind of missed it. One of my rules is the guy has to have at least played 3 seasons with the team. So if you've seen them, if there's a guy who's only played 2 seasons or something, you're like, what about him? Well, the rule is have to be on the team at least 3 seasons to be considered. So that's that, So we'll see, how everything pops out and rolls out for the other teams, but that's that. Put a lot of work, a lot of thought into that one, just trying to get everything honed up and lined up. I think everything is lined up nicely. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. I know Les is going to put in some work in terms of putting in the good ratings for guys and, picking the right seasons for them, that represents them and what have you for what was their actually best season. So I had to, in this little game I was just playing just for the sake of actually having some footage in the background. I'm not sure what happens. Sometimes when I capture PlayStation stuff, it's weird. Only baseball. I don't know why that is. But sometimes when I capture the baseball game, sometimes it goes out of audio sync. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why. So I have to usually manually go back and adjust it or whatever. Sometimes I don't do it if it's not actually relevant to what I'm doing, which is pretty much the case with this one. So that's that. But the Diamondbacks that you see here, batting stances and all that, I pretty much finalized. If there's anything that's off or whatever, I did the best I could based off of the information that was available. MLB The Show changed the way the batting stance thing is like recorded this year. Last year they had like a lot of generic stances. This year they don't have as many. So some of the guys that you could find their stances before, you can't find them now. So also in terms of jersey numbers, like Matt Williams is up right now. Pretty much everybody knows he's number 9. But I put those things in, but they got changed. As if he gets on the team and there's somebody that's got that number, I don't know what happened, but I'm gonna go back in and try to change those things up. Just try to get that as on point as possible. But yeah, so Robin Roberts is on the mound for the Phillies here. I'm pretty sure he's gonna make the FPVR team. At least I believe he is. So I had to get on the board here. I got a little single to center field. Get the scores, the runs, a big 2-out hit for Matt Williams. Slides in the second base. All right. So that's it, y'all. I appreciate your time. This was about 15 minutes of me running my mouth. So yeah, take a look and look out for more updates. I'm moving on to the Angels now for sure. And I appreciate y'all watching, subscribe, follow. God bless.